Hi, it's Nick Shell, the internet receding hairline guy. Well, let's just talk about what just happened this weekend. Now, obviously, I posted how many videos? Like at least 6 over the weekend, if not more. We did the whole transition from month-old beard to needing a trim and all that. So we went through each state of that. Now, I do apologize. I admit I was supposed to have a video for what I call the Spanish goatee, where it's just a mustache and just goatee right here, but nothing in between. That's my mistake. I was up shaving at like midnight on Friday night or whatever, and I did a good job of taking pictures and Instagramming it, but I didn't do a video for that particular one. So right off the bat, if you want to see me with what I call the Spanish goatee, just go to my Instagram. My Instagram is @NickShellWrites, like writes as in with a W. So again, it's @NickShellWrites. That's my Instagram. If you really want to see that picture, I've got it there on Instagram. But again, my apologies for not having the video of it. Now, here's what I want to call this video: as good as it gets. This is as good as it gets for me for my hair. At age 35, with the hairline I have, my hair being the length it is, it's not going to get any better than this as far as hair goes. Now again, I have all interest in shaving off my hair to a number 1 again at some point in the future. Maybe this fall, maybe this winter, maybe next year. Whenever I feel like it, I'm going to do that. But right now I don't feel like it, so I'm not going to do it. With that being said, as far as hair goes, actually having hair, I don't suppose it can get any better than this. I mean, I've grown it out for 5.5 months, and so I mean, I will experiment with it being a little bit longer. It is 3 inches on top. You know, I can grow out maybe 4 inches and it still, you know, work with how short it is on the sides, because what I don't want is that, like, if it hangs over the side or something, like, I don't want to have to worry about that. I don't want it that long. So I did ask the lady that cuts my hair about that, and she said, yeah, I'm still good for at least another inch and a half before I'd ever have to worry about that, based on it being a number 4 on the sides and the back. I don't know, that might change if I took it down to a 2, which, you know, down the road maybe I'll do that. But it's funny, so here's what I'm wanting to assess today, is that with my hairline, it doesn't get any better for hair than what I've already got right now. That's as good as it's gonna get for me. And I'm okay with that, because again, I'll just shave it off and I'm cool for the rest of my life with that. That's not a problem. I fully accept that. And it always sounds alluring because, man, it's less maintenance for me. So with that being said, let's do this. I mean, I do this every so often, but let me reveal my hairline again, because that's going to show you that at this hairline, this is the most you can really do with this hair, other than it just being, I don't know, like just too much work to like look like a cover-up. Because I made a video a couple weeks ago. I think there is definitely a difference between, you know, having a comb over versus working with what you got when you have a receding hairline. I am not part of that school of thought that believes just because you've got a receding hairline that you need to shave it off. I am not one of those people. I disassociate with that way of thinking. Not with the people who say that, but I disassociate with that way of thinking. That's not my thinking at all. But this whole concept in these last couple months is, what can we do? What's the most we can do with this hair? So there's the wind blowing. Let me just get under this tree where it's a little, oh, I got poked in the eye by a leaf or something. So look at this hairline. I mean, look at that peninsula, that's what I call it. Get a good look at that. See? That's where I'm at. So with that kind of hairline, going that far back, and with that little bit of hair right there, you can still get away with what I've got. And I mean, that's fine. And it's funny because it's like, I'm happy that I can still have this haircut because it's really the only haircut I can have. Because I've mentioned before, my hair's also thin up in this region. So if I go much shorter than this, even aside from the fact it reveals how my hairline goes up, the bigger issue is it's thinner right here. I mean, it's clearly thinner right here. I don't want a two-tone situation. I want it to look nice and fluid and just there, like you're wearing a hat. Just, here's my hair, you know? So trying to fix a little bit to make it where it was from when I did that. There we go. So that's what I want. So I really do think this is as good as it gets. Growing my hair out any longer is not going to help the situation. Now granted, that definitely helped a couple months ago when my hair was only like 1.5 inches, because then we dealt with all the thin part showing. So that was the solution. I do believe that with a hairline like mine, and the way it is thin right here, I believe that it does need to be this long to look good. Otherwise, just shave it off. I just don't believe there's much in between. I mean, if you go back on my videos a month or two ago from now, you could probably see, well, it still looked good then too. I mean, it looked maybe equally as good a month ago, back in May. And sure, I wouldn't argue with you. There's not a whole lot of difference between it being 3 inches like it is now and when it was like 2.5 inches. There's not a whole lot of difference there on that. It's funny, I'm like trying to get it fixed back the way it was, but oh well. That's part of the concept, is I just want it to be there and then just not touch it and leave it alone. And then that's part of always the allure of just shaving it off again, because you don't have to worry about that. But it always comes down to this: I don't have to shave it off for the rest of my life yet. That is obviously my future, and I'm not in denial about my future. I know that's what's happening. But it's funny, because when I look at a lot of actors, Hollywood actors, they have, this is basically kind of a default hairstyle they have. It just downplays the fact that their hair is receding or that it's thinner right here. It doesn't bring any attention to it, but they all kind of have the same haircut, and I think that's largely the case because most men have receding hairlines. So there's not a whole lot they can do. They can just draw attention away from it, and that's fine. So as good as it gets, this is as good as it gets. So whatever age you are, you may relate to me. You could be my age, though I doubt you are. Demographically, you're closer to age 19 or 20 or 21, and I know that. So I know that most people watching this are experiencing a hairline like this already. Of course, the question, like I've said it before, the question is always, how soon will your hairline continue to recede? There's no way of knowing that. You know, I've had several people comment to me and say, wow, I can't believe you have that much hair if you've been receding since 19. And I have. I mean, I can look back at pictures. I definitely saw where it went up higher here. I remember that. It's funny, I'll close with this short story here. This weekend, my son and I watched the original Fantastic Four movie on Netflix, made in 2005. And it was named Chris Evans that plays Captain America in the new movies. He's the Human Torch in those first two movies from a decade ago. And so, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, and we'll assume that I am, but he was born, I think, in 83, and I'm born in 81. So he's 2 years younger than me. So whereas modern day, I'm 35, and he's probably turning 33 this year. Well, you look at him, Captain America, in the movies, you can see he's got a receding hairline. The same thing with the guy that plays Thor, who's also early 30s as well. Even the guy that plays Superman, Henry Cavill, that's how you say it, they all have receding hairlines. They're normal men in our mid-30s. That's how we look, you know. With that being said, though, it's funny because as I was looking back at the Human Torch, when Chris Evans played the Human Torch back in 2005, he had a buzz cut, and it looked to be like maybe a number 4 buzz cut all around with the sideburns. And it's funny because I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when my hairline was that way. Because at age 24, mine was kind of like his. It showed the very first signs of kind of going up, and that's kind of how mine was from 19 to, I guess, 24. I don't know. It's funny because I feel that like by age 27, my hairline's been mostly this way. It's just I always had longer hair and never really noticed it before. But now I'm becoming more determined with it. But it's just funny. You just never know. But just remember, those of us who have receding hairlines, this is what's normal for us. So this is your psychology session about receding hairlines. Remember, no other person on the internet is going to do this for you. This is to kind of just talk sense into you about this. They're going to try to sell you creams, potions, lotions. They're going to try to do all this stuff to mask it or override it. You can't do that. You just got to accept your masculinity. You're losing your hair because you're masculine. You know that, right? I mean, you know that's true. That's why this is happening to you. And therefore, you've got more hair in other places that women don't want hair, and I'm sure we wouldn't want them to have hair like on their face and back, right, and chest. So we are masculine, and we are accepting this. The only problem is there's not enough places in the world, not enough people in the world to be honest with you about how this works. That's why you subscribe to me, and that's why you watch me. I'm not that magical of a person. I'm taking a simple concept and helping young men understand how this thing works with hairlines, because men don't typically talk about it, right? It doesn't have to be a negative thing. It's more of a thing about accepting reality, moving forward, and being confident in who we are, right? Nick Shell, the internet receding hairline guy. I appreciate you watching my videos.